7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have a specific talent, or you're just a positive person and you've always kind of lead people to the light, or you have an amazing story to tell, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. And if you are more comfortable or can reach out to either Karma Cass as well as Mrs. Jade, this episode is about remembering and rediscovering and reigniting that feeling of vibrancy. The episode is Happiness Rocks, Positive Thinking. And happiness is every single person's birthright. Are you ready to make some waves? We can either do that together or we can do something different, but either or, we all deserve to tap into our happy place and put yourself in that position where you always know you deserve happiness first. Otherwise, who you are to other people will never translate. Choose you first. That being said, through positive thinking, we approach life, I guess, with less unpleasantries in a more positive and a more productive way. And tonight we have a very together, but and more importantly, an amazing lineup. And so, for those of you who are here for the first time, make sure you hit that star at the top of the screen so you don't miss another episode. Up next, we have an amazing woman. She embodies positivity. She brings so much joy and smiles and laughter to so many people around the world, not just in the USA. And it's no doubt to say that she's a person I hold dear to my heart because of her confidence and her beauty and the way she carries herself as a person. Please help me to welcome matchmaker and casting agent Robynn Rox.
Hey, hi
Hey,
everybody.
Robynn. I love the funky glasses. Yes.
I'm old and I can't see.
Oh, how are you, Robynn?
Thank you for such a warm greeting. I love
Of
that.
course. I mean, we celebrate the beauty, we celebrate the queens, the people who bring brightness and a little difference to the people around them. That being said, I mean, I know you very well. I feel like, you know that like that's my best friend in my head.
We can say
But
that way.
I want you to introduce yourself to everybody in the stream real quick so they can understand who they're talking to.
Sure. You want me to tell a little bit about what I do as well?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I am Robynn Rox. That is my stage name just because I'm private. So if you're looking for me on social media, that's the best way to find me. I spent most of my years in corporate America running big divisions, working for major companies. I've been a district manager, sales leader, and I ended up breaking my spine and it shifted me into a different direction. And now I'm in the TV and film industry. So I've been doing that for a couple of years and just recently got into castings here in Chicago. And then on the side, by accident, I became a matchmaker.
Which you're brilliant at, which we will be getting into a few minutes. So she basically just gave you guys a little bit of a profile, but just to go in depth for a little bit, I know you started with Fortune 500 uh, companies and people working with people in corporate business and stuff like that. What was the huge switch that made you go into basically your calling, in my opinion, but what made you make that heavy or big switch?
So that's actually spot on in terms of accuracy because the entire time that I was running in corporate America, working for Verizon, Sprint, everyone used to say, I feel like I can see you on TV. You have a stage presence, but I didn't understand that. And I was just doing my job. Unfortunately for
Yeah.
me, I didn't choose this path. I broke my spine and lost my job in the same day. And it was a company that I had been working for well over a decade. I had held 3 different directorship roles for them. I literally built this company from the ground up. And
Wow.
unfortunately, they laid me off and my spine broke. And that's kind of what started the journey into a new career path. I actually thought I was going to go back to corporate. That was my plan. But being laid down from a spinal surgery, there was nothing I could do. I couldn't go back to work for a long period of time and just started auditioning. And that led to a number of other things. I don't want to jump ahead, but that led to a number of other things at that point.
I mean, I know I've always said to you, when I came across you, I was like, you look so familiar. There's something about you that's so familiar. And I literally had to go back. And I'm not sure if it's, I know it was a clip I saw on YouTube, and whether it was from a commercial or a movie, but you had black hair and they quickly went past you, but like they stayed in that frame for a while. And I'm like, that's where I know you from. I saw this on YouTube years before we made. And that is so insane to me. So jumping from being in corporate and being in a place where you basically make so many decisions, was that still the same when you came over to casting or and doing auditions? And what was your first role that you got? Out of
Yeah,
curiosity,
so
of
it's
course.
funny that you say that because I have an ongoing joke where I say I am the most recognized, unrecognized person in TV history. Like I have done more 2-second passes on the TV screen than anybody that I've ever met in my life. Like if you blink, you will not see me. So when I first started, I started in background acting, like just doing extra work because I didn't really know what I was doing. I fell into it by mistake because a friend got invited to be on Chicago Fire, the Chicago Fire PD and Chicago Med Trio. And she kind of
Yeah, yeah.
dragged me into it. Well, when I got down there, I was like, but in my opinion, it was a little disorganized. And I thought I could do this a little better because I come from this really corporate, structured, trained background where down here it was just kind of like this line, that line, this is here, that's there. But I didn't know the business. I didn't know anyone. I had no connections. I didn't know
Right.
the language. The lingo is totally different and the energy is different. So when you sit around a table at a boardroom, there's kind of a generalized understanding that you're going to behave in a certain way, completely different
Right.
on set. You know, you still need to be
Right.
professional, but completely different. So I took roles and background to network, to meet people who mattered so that I could, you know, work my way up and to learn and observe everything. One of my go-to tactics with doing background work was to be selective over the production that I chose. So I would look at the
Yeah.
production, who's working that set, what director is there, what producer is there, is that somebody I admire, is that somebody who does things that are big and bold? If so, I'm going to work that job. Even if I'm only getting 50 bucks, 100 bucks for the day, 200 bucks, I'm going to work that job, rub some elbows with the right people, learn what I need to learn, and then take myself to the next level, which is what I did shortly after that. I ended up auditioning with an agent out of Chicago. She picked me up and then started going on castings after that. My very first like real gig besides background acting was the Illinois Lottery commercial. Where once again you can't really see me if you blink because I moved too fast. And then I got
But you didn't though.
it really is.
That's the thing.
It's
So
good work. So it's fun. It's good work. You meet a lot of people, a lot of nice people, you know, and a lot of times people are doing this part time. But doing extra work isn't, in my opinion, the way to really get there. You got to seek an agent, you know, you got to link up with somebody who knows what they're doing and kind of help propel your career. But I just started out working on, you know, Empire was a big show. Shameless was another one I was on, a lot of Showtime television shows, some movies on Disney, but all background, nothing to write home about, nothing exciting.
but that's the thing, like, I mean, if you talk about it, the reason I always told you, I think from the favorite shows, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Shameless, like all of those are like, you know, some of my favorite shows that I did. And I want to ask you, you mentioned working on productions and on sets that where you admire the people who's doing these things. I know that, for example, I've recently spoken to Shane Sarstar, who worked on more, what is it, Briggs, it's the old cop TV show, Briggs and Mordecai,
Oh,
the
I know
old
what you're talking
duo
about.
that they kind of reinvented and made a new show,
Yes,
and the
yes.
show got canceled because one of the actors was grade A, you know what, to everybody on set. So it was a very unpleasant work environment for them, but it was such a brilliant show. And I mean, in my opinion, they did replace him with somebody, but I stopped watching because it was just, oh my God, I wouldn't want to watch this with a replacement. When you get a gig or a job on a set or a movie set do you think people's behavior plays a big role in how you kind of propel yourself forward and do the job.
Sure. Yeah. So I do. And it's crazy because a lot of times I'll talk from two different angles, like the angle of getting a day player role where you have lines or you're there for a longer period versus extra work. When extras come onto set, or at least this is my opinion, because I know some of y'all do this too, so don't come at me. But when extras come on set, some of us are there because this is what we do every day. Every single day, we are auditioning from home, trying to get commercials, trying to get the big movie, gig. We do the extra work to kind of pay the bills in between the big gigs. But for some
Right.
people, they have regular jobs. They're accountants, they're attorneys, and they do it on their day off or they do it for fun. One time I was on set where somebody was drinking out of a water bottle and it was vodka. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was just having a good old time, like he was on vacation. And that's not the way to go, guys. Like if you're really going to take acting seriously, you have to remember that when you get hired for a job, you are hired to do a specific task, and it's no different than a regular staffing agency. If you call up a office team and ask for a job as a receptionist, you're expected to show up on time and answer the phone. In the same respect, if you are doing background work and you are a Chicago fire victim, you are expected to be on time and behave like a victim, not like someone who's on vacation, happy to be on TV. So your behavior does really matter. And the more professional you are, the more that you shut up and listen and talk less so that the rest of the people can get their work done, people notice you. And that's how I ended up moving up to a stand-in role. And then it kind of took off from there. But the sloppiness or the chitter chatter, we forget sometimes because we're standing around sometimes 14 hours. Meanwhile, there's 100 other people who are actually working. This is their office space. So yeah, your behavior matters greatly. Now, on the other side of the fence, if you're not doing background work, hopefully you already know those things. And again, it just goes back to professionalism. And the key there is make sure you come with what they asked you to come with. So if they said, bring jewel toned t-shirts, then don't show up in black and white. If they ask you to be on set by 5:30, then you get there at 4:30. Sometimes you have to park and then take a shuttle, and there's all these other things that can get in the way. And here in Chicago, the traffic's crazy. But behavior is everything. And as long as you're always polite and smiling and seeming approachable, sometimes you get upgraded on set. I got, can I tell you the story of when I got upgraded on set?
100%, go ahead.
So I was so excited because I'd never been upgraded before. This is for Chicago PD, you guys. It's just such a great series. And it was a scene where we were all going to be homeless. So I wore my teenager's clothes and put myself together, got really dirty on my face. And when they were walking around the room, they're like, we need an upgrade. And they point to me, and I'm so ecstatic about this. I go sit in the chair. She does my makeup. I turn around to look at my face, and I am covered in pock marks. Like I have sores on my face, yellow teeth, and glue all over my teeth. And I was like, what did I get upgraded to? And she's like, you're upgraded to meth addict, honey. Have a good day.
I mean, the television world, I know that's like a big deal right there, because like you said, your attitude is everything, and it plays such a key role when it comes to being a better you, a happier you. If this is a career you choose and something that you're interested in and something that you're propelling yourself towards, the most important thing is to put your best foot forward and literally go for it like you would do any other job. And if it's something you're passionate about, if you're not getting paid for it, you're going to go harder to make sure you do that. And that is a beautiful story that basically kind of goes toward that. I'm going to vaguely go, of course, just a little bit. And I want to ask you, describe a time where you faced an obstacle and the outcome. How did you overcome what you had to deal with when it was to do with being on set and dealing with those type of environments?
Oh boy, I have a couple of odds. I have some awkward stories, but my first real odd encounter was I actually received a job to be an interview host where I do it's like a online TV show. So I would interview authors or politicians and things of that nature. I had just auditioned, just got hired for it, and we were scheduled to film this, the upcoming weekend on Saturday. It was a Wednesday night. I was working in my garage using my saw, and I cut my finger off. Like literally cut my finger off. It rolls down the driveway. I don't have a finger. So I get rushed to the hospital. I called the executive producer of the show and I said, I can't film this weekend. Like I cut my finger. And he's like, well, can you throw a Band-Aid on it? I'm like, nah, it's not that simple. Like
Not on this one.
it's gone.
Oh my
There's no finger there. So I completely had sawed it off. And I needed to film. I was incredibly insecure. So in this business, it can be uncomfortable because people are always looking at you. They're always touching your hair. They're critiquing things. So I was incredibly uncomfortable going on my very first like real TV show. And I didn't have a finger. They ended up bandaging it, and it was really thick. So you could see, you know, the finger. I wanted to call the show off. I didn't even want to film it, but I pushed forward. Yeah, I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to even work anymore. I thought, how am I going to get through with this? I don't have a prosthetic. But they bandaged it up. I went for it anyway. And if any of you guys look at the first few episodes, you'll see my hand is always tucked behind me because I was that uncomfortable with the hand, you know, putting it there. I end up rehabbing the hand. I have a finger now, and I pop the finger on, and that's what I use on set. So when I go on set and I know that I'm going to be in close-up shots or anything that requires my hand, I'll put that on. But I have had it come off, like shaking somebody's hand in the middle of a scene, or when they got done, my finger was in their hand.
I mean, I've kind of lightweight see some of your TikTok videos where you kind of touched on when people ask you about it, or you kind of give people, but you have, like I said, such a big personality and you're always so vibrant and so happy. And you just basically answered two questions I wanted to ask you in one, which the next question was going to be, tell me a time when you wanted to give up. And this like literally just said that. But how do you react when you're asked something that's beyond your capabilities? Is it like I think like a lot of times in life, we literally we are our own biggest enemies. We prevent ourselves from happiness by doing things that's counterproductive, in the sense of like it's not necessarily a big thing for other people, but we see it as such a thing. And because we know normalize talking about it, it becomes this bigger thing. And so you get insecure, you get in your own head, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this task. I can't complete this because I don't have this and I don't have that. So have there ever been a time where you felt like you've been given a task that was beyond your capabilities? You either pulled it off or you couldn't pull it together. And what was the reason behind that? And how did you kind of grow from that?
That happens to me a lot, actually. And I think it's mostly, so I'm definitely happy, but I'm insecure. I have a lot of moments where I don't think I can, people believe in me more than I believe in myself. You know, they think I can do bigger and better things. And I feel like I'm always getting the envelope pushed a little bit further. One of the biggest things that I always tell people is put yourself in your uncomfort zone. If you want growth, if you want to get to the next level, you can't stay where you've always been. You have to take a step forward. When I broke my spine, that was the biggest challenge that I'd ever had. I had lost 20 years of corporate experience in like 2 minutes flat. You know, just completely gone, and didn't know what I was going to do. I was in the middle of rehabbing a home, didn't know how I was going to pay for things. Came home, fell into a depression over it. Now, my depression doesn't look the same as everybody else's. I still seem cheerful. I put on a good face, but I wasn't happy. I couldn't believe that everything had changed. Whenever I get to a place where there's something I can't tackle, one, I'm honest, you know, with the person who's asking for the task. I say, here's my skill set. This is what I know I'm capable of. But before I tell you no, let me do a little, internal searching to see if I'm capable of, meeting your needs. If it's a task that I'm missing, like stand up, right? I wanted to do stand up. Then I go take classes. So workshops, I train, I learn, I get on YouTube. I am obsessed with the help menu on Excel. I read things constantly. Like if there's an opportunity to learn more about a software or a different industry, I do that. I'm not afraid. I'm a forever student, so I'm not afraid of failing. In fact, my friends say I'm the one in the group that fails the most, and I keep getting up because I enjoy that. Like I enjoy trying, and I enjoy the results of not only succeeding and being able to share with other people how I did it, but I enjoy so much more the process of failing, because that's where you really take that energy and you learn how to convert that into something different. If you haven't failed, you can't teach somebody how to do something, because not everyone's going to do it the same way, and they're not going to have the same results. I don't know. I just think that the attitude about how you approach things needs to always come from a place of love for yourself. So if you love yourself, just the way you would a partner, if you're having a conversation with your children about them doing something wrong or your partner upsetting you, if you speak from a place of love, it's usually received well. So why don't we do that to ourselves? Like, we're so hard on ourselves. We're always critical, especially for live streamers. We see our faces every day and we're like, oh, I put on a little weight, or like I have a pimple right here. I'm
Yeah, or this is not right, or that's not right.
Yeah.
But as you said, we learn. We have to take a place of where we practice self-awareness. I honestly, like I said, you're a very well-rounded person, and I can see the way you carry yourself that you do practice self-awareness, and you are aware of the things that make you better and the things that you can do better. And I think from your attitude and the way you keep yourself positive, it's literally a perspective that so many people can learn from. And I kind of want to take you a little bit back to the casting, and I just want to ask, what was the last project that you were super energized about?
Well, so I haven't really worked in terms of being on a set, because now I'm in casting kind of in the background behind the scenes since COVID happened in 2020. So the last project that I did that I actually thought was my launching pad, I'm like, I think I'm on my way. It was a Facebook commercial, and I auditioned for it. And when I messaged them about a week before the actual shoot was due to occur, they said that I hadn't been selected. So I carried about my life and did what I needed to do. The day before this shoot, I get a phone call at 10:45 p.m. They're like, pack your bags, we need you in LA tomorrow morning. And I was just like, what? Like, I got this. So they flew me. It was really great too. So they fly you out to LA. They pay for your Uber to and from the airport. They put you up in a hotel. They covered my stay for 5 days. They gave me a stipend so that I could eat and drink and do whatever I needed to do while I was there. And then I actually had a 15-minute meeting, and we only shot for 3 hours. And I think I got like $5,000 for that gig. So it's like, it's a really lucrative business, but you have to put in the work. A lot of people just want to, jump in, be famous overnight. That doesn't really happen. You got to really put in the work to do it. You have to have some credibility. And if you don't have theater experience from school, go to classes, go to improv classes, acting classes, get some things under your belt to put on your resume,
Right. I think I've always been like, so I'm not ashamed or shy, but because I went into the career choice that I did go into. So in school, I was all about theater. I was in every single play. I directed. I did the putting, like basically the decor. I was very antsy, and we had this old teacher, right? Miss Suarez, like. She was this old Portuguese teacher who literally made sure, like, if I'm in charge, she wouldn't be there, because she knows I'm probably worse or as anal as she was about getting certain things done in a certain way. And so she was comfortable leaving me in charge, and she was still teaching at the age of 67. And I loved her. She was my favorite teacher. She was our music teacher. And so even with after school stuff, I would help her out. But it's something that I think when I went into corporate business, I suppressed it and pulled it a little bit backwards, and like, let me, try being the more mature me, because I was always told. So I auditioned for a show because the guy was like, I'm doing this show. I'm like, oh, that's your show? He's like, yeah. He's like, can you just come upstairs and do the audition? And my boss looked at me. He's like, okay, fine, go. I did the audition, and we went, and he was like, okay, we just need to match you up with a proper counterpart, as in whoever's going to co-host with me. Our kind of, I don't know, I think our looks together and how we look together and sound together had to make sense. And so I'm 5'8", he's impossibly tall, first and foremost. Right. So, and we're like, it's me in the heels looking up to him. So it wasn't the right anything. And then they asked a bunch of impossible things. And because it wasn't a thing that I was passionate about, in the sense of like wanting to be interested in it, because my dad has always told me, there's no money in this. Why are you doing it? Like you
Yeah,
can't be.
I'll say
And I
that a
was
lot.
obsessed with actors like comedians, and like Jim Carrey was my favorite actor growing up. And I know that's bad or weird or whatever. I don't care. Like I loved him in all his little movies. Ace Ventura, that was my the movie that I watched probably the most, right? And I literally could tell you line for line how he acted and what he said. So I had that, and it kind of carried on. And my school teacher, my music teacher, she nurtured that. After
Yeah.
voice lessons, she would nurture that and be like, this is your calling. She set me up with an agent and everything. And then my dad said, no, you're
So
going to
I want to talk
university.
about that. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that we can make in our own life is not surrounding ourselves around people who support our dreams, even if they seem like they're crazy. If you guys knew me better, the number of dreams that I've had in my life that I've tried and failed, tried and failed, and tried and failed, and finally I found my home, you'd be
Right.
shocked at the number of things that I've done. But it was because everyone around me was so encouraging, and so much so that even when I was
Yeah.
myself, they were
I think
lifting me up.
that's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything when you have that support. And I think and I don't think my dad had a lack of support. I think just he had a plan for my life, right? Like
Yeah.
from each,
Parents
we are
do.
9 kids. Every single one of us, he had a specific plan for our life and how it was supposed to go. And although it didn't go according to that, I feel like for most of us, it's just he's been supportive in his own way. My mom was more of the I support you in whatever you do. So what's great about this is like it allowed me to I have people skills, and I was able to connect with people real easy. If you look for me in a big crowd, you'll always find me where the most people are standing or where the loudest noise is going on. That's where I'll be. So I think that it teaches, and also with my confidence, it never the negative things that you were told, it wasn't something that ever kind of creeped under my skin or allowed me to feel different or make me feel less than who I was as a person, because I was in this great position where I know who I was. I saw all the beautiful and positive comments from people. And besides that, I knew, like, I was so self assured. And because I had a dad who always told me that there's nobody smarter than you, there's nobody that can do it better than you. And it didn't make me cocky, it made me just want to do things better and more. And
I love
so with
that.
that's why I'm always open to being or involved in stuff like that, because I feel like it's something that came natural, but he blocked it because he was like, you need to focus on your studies
I
and
know.
getting A, B, and C done. After
Understood.
that, you can do what you want. So he had his own good intentions. I want to switch gears just a little bit. And I want to ask you this. I know you also started doing the matchmaking, which is basically the thing that is going crazy on TikTok right now. I have people in my DMs. I just checked earlier. I have 32 DMs. I had 88 DMs in total. 32 was specifically asking me about the matchmaking. I'm like, you need to add her, not me. So what I did was I copied your name on TikTok and I just pasted in every single DM that asked me that, because it was like crazy, because this was since it started when I restarted posting, because I took a break from posting. And then when I started again, when I went to sleep, so 1, 2, 3 in the morning, I got all these messages. I went through it this morning. I was like, ay, ay, ay. So I just basically copied and pasted your information, most of them from Texas, New York, etc. So most people don't know about what you do. So I know you do the matchmaking, but I want you to go into detail and tell people exactly. So single people, if you try to not be single, this is the part where you pay attention. Okay? Robyn, take it away.
Let me first say I cannot wait to get my paws on you. Like, I cannot wait till I'm telling the world about you and doing something for you. You are literally my number one favorite person to want to try and matchmake. I want to see if I can be good at it after the way we were chatting. So yeah, by accident, I posted something on TikTok. Let me take a step back. 20 years ago, I did do matchmaking. I did it for a long time on the side. Everyone used to call me the female hitch. And it all really stemmed because I was not afraid of online dating, and everybody else thought it was taboo at the time. And I would meet gentlemen that I didn't really care for. And so I'm like, we're not a good fit, but I got a friend, and I call it recycling them, but they didn't really work for me. And so suddenly people started calling me like, hey, do you know someone? Can you bring people to the party? And it turned into this thing. So I took a little hiatus from it, got into corporate America, did my thing. And then I was talking to a friend who's like, there's no eligible men anywhere. And I said, you should go to TikTok. My reason for loving it is you can actually see people's personalities. You see their sense of humor. They put out their content. You get to see their cats or their dogs or their energy or their attitude when they respond to negative comments. You get to see so much about who somebody is. I'm watching people fall in love on TikTok. So I made one little post and said, I'm trying to prove to a friend there's eligible bachelors out here. And 1,900 people replied in like 3 days.
Wow.
And that's how it kind of like kicked off. It was insane. So now what we're doing is, if you go to my TikTok, there's a playlist called Dating Rocks. There's also one called Happiness Rocks, but there's one called Dating Rocks. And we've organized it with different categories. So if you're over 40, or if you want to date across the seas, if you're good with international dating, whatever your jam is. I had one for fluffy men. So whatever you like, you can go to that video.
I love that one.
I love that one too. It was like my favorite. I got one for dad bods next. But yeah, you just comment like where you're from, how old you are, what you're looking for.
Now, you have something for every single person. What makes the experience with you so unique, and I think this is something she always says, if you're on TikTok and you do post your pictures, or you just post yourself talking or vibing to certain, or doing duets, whatever, they get to see a little bit more of your personality. That being said, it's like, make sure, like, when you want to meet somebody, that you're willing to share your life and who you are, or at least be open to getting to know the person. What I've seen so far has been so amazing. So there's 3 posts specifically that I want to talk about. So you had your one where you talk about if you're a mom and you're trying to date, the responses was crazy. Then you had one where you said this one is for Black men only. The responses were crazy, but 90% of them were hot, like really hot. And I was like, they exist? This is how they come?
These unicorns are out there.
Right. And then you had one where you talk about fluffy men. Now, just kind of like just putting it out there. I've never liked a size 0. Like, no offense, y'all all pretty. Everybody has their own. But I like somebody with the little, I don't know. I want to touch something. Like, I want human, connection. Like, I want to, you know what I mean? So I love, like, it can be cute. It can be really cute, right? I love like the full cheeks, and I love the little fluffiness, right?
You better go check it out. There's so many on there.
So for me, it's like I normally find, like, when somebody, and this is just in my experience, I'm just talking from my experience point of view, when they're very fluffy, they're super funny and so attentive, and I love that because that's how I am, and it's like, yes. So right, and I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger. If we meet, I'm a hugger. So then you had that segment, and then I think there was a specific segment for, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was people that were into, I want to get this precisely right. People that were into specific things, and you kind of broke down the categories, and there was mad responses again. So I guess my bigger question is, how do you handle it, and do you ever become overwhelmed?
Yeah, I'm actually currently overwhelmed. I haven't slept, so I'm rocking 36 hours without sleep right now. So I'm surprised I'm even like formulating good sentences. I'm so overwhelmed because I care so much. So what ends up happening is I get all these comments, then people find me on other social media. I mean, you know how it goes, and you get a lot of messages and DMs, but everybody has a story. And so once you drop your story, then my sensitive heart gets glued to it. And now I'm like hell bent on trying to help you find love. I'm very lucky. I just recently like found love, and it's the most incredible thing that I've ever been through. And because of the energy that I'm getting from this relationship, I am just bound and determined to help every person who's had a rough relationship, experience, find somebody that they're truly compatible with, not just somebody you think is cute, not just somebody who you get along with, or oh, he's funny or she's funny. I'm talking like your ride or die forever. You can picture yourselves sitting on a porch in a rocking chair at 80 years old watching your grandkids play. Like, that's what I'm there for. For the people who just want to connect, they can do that in the comments. But I do get overwhelmed by it because I want to help everyone. I'm in the process of trying to work on something that'll help me match make better. But my goal is to eventually actually bring people on here so we can have some live connection with some folks. And what I really want to do is a in-person singles meetup. And I'd like to start with you and find, go wherever you're
about this a little bit.
And
I'm still very scared. That's why right now I'm looking from the background. Like, I'm looking what you're doing, and I'm so in awe with what you do for other people. And I don't even think half the time you realize what an impact you have on other people and the way they connect. Something that's always drawn me to your personality as a friend or a person who got to know you was you've always had this infectious laughter and this happiness about you that just puts you in a better mood whenever I see a TikTok video that you just did or something that you just kind of put together. And seeing your love story recently posted, that is, I am so freaking happy for you because it just seems like a good match. Like, that goofy personality kind of shows and transcends, and it's just, I'm so happy for you. And it's like when you see the person doing the matchmaking found love and this type of love, you like, okay, sis, now you gotta hook me up. You gotta get me straight. So for singles in the stream right now, or for singles who might be watching this after the fact, how would they need to, or how would they be able to get hold of you if they are single, they want to find someone, and they like you said, like for me example, I've had a hard go at it,
Yeah.
like constant liars and manipulators, cheaters, like, so how would they go about finding you and being able to, and what do you think is the best kind of way for them to showcase who they are, if you have any tips for them?
Yeah, sure. So if you're on TikTok, just follow me on TikTok. There's little folders under the bio, and so one of them's called Dating Rocks. I'm actually going to start doing dating advice so that you avoid things like what you went through, Bella, which is having, someone catfish you. And because I've been doing this so long, I've collected thousands of stories, so I have a good radar for it. So I'm going to start with giving some tips like that. Inside that playlist, there are also tips on things that you can do if you're not a TikToker. So let's say TikTok's not your thing. I put some little cute dating, TikTok trends on there, if you will, and you guys can just steal them from me. Do exactly what I did. You don't have to do anything different. Like, that's what TikTok's about, is borrowing each other's creativity, right? I borrowed it from someone, take it from me. But you do have to put yourself out there. And I know a lot of people are shy. But if you're so shy that you can't even post one video, it's going to be harder to find someone in the social media aspect. And I won't be able to match make every single soul. The other way to connect with me is on Snapchat. So my Snapchat's in my bio here on Meet Me. But on Snapchat, I have a highlight reel for my Meet Me friends. And then I have a separate one for castings, and I have a separate one for singles. So if you join me on Snapchat, just tell me what you're here for. I'll add you there. If you want to be a featured single, there's a long list right now, but I do it for free. There is no charge for it. You can put together the content on your own, or you can send me pictures and videos, and I'll put together a video for you, and I will literally be your hype girl. Like, everyone will see that we're best friends when I'm done with you. Like, I'll do this. And I always try to shout out comments. Like, if I could do 1,900 people in one day, I would. But I do as many as I can. My goal is really to help people find each other. So I'll give you the tools, but you got to work with me. I can't do it all for you.
Right. And I mean, do you think sometimes, like, when they have more questions, like, oh, I'm sending you all this, Robyn, but I'm nervous. Do you kind of find ways to like ease them? And this is a two-part question because I also want to know that, Have you ever made a mistake and realized it after the fact, like, oh, that was probably not a smart match?
Today I just found out about one, like right before I came on. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I have. So I actually respond to almost every message. Now, I'm a fast talker. I'm from the city. I'm moving a million miles a minute. Right now, we're casting people and their dogs. So I have 30 people to talk to after I hang up here. So I'm constantly on the go, and I have a spinal injury. So I don't remember everything. So keeping things in Snap helps me remember. So I'll save certain things, but I use a lot of voice messages, and I try to always be as genuine and as authentic as I am, even if it means I'm a little cranky. I'll just say that, like, hey, Susie, I really want to help you. I'm running on fumes right now, but just don't talk to this guy. He looks like a total scammer. I'll explain why later. So sometimes I'm abbreviated, but I always circle back. And it does take me a while if there's a lot of messages, but boy, am I
Right.
dedicated to the cause, because I have bags. Like, I look like this because for the last 2 weeks, I've averaged 3 hours of sleep because I'm so obsessed with people's stories. And I don't know why I love this so much, but I do. Like, I really love
It's when you're passionate. When you're passionate about something, you're always going to put all your energy, your love, your heart into it. Hence, I'm saying your happiness is transcending into people seeing it's possible. So let's try it. And so I know you're trying to make it better, not just for you, but for
it.
everybody, and make it more accessible. So I want you to briefly just touch on that real quick, on what you're trying to build, and anybody who's trying to contribute to that will be a part of that, what they can do from their side to make this a better thing. Because out of matchmakers or people who try to match people up romantically, I've seen so many people come, go, fail, and not succeed.
Yeah.
And when I see your videos, the way you put it out there, I type a whole message, then I'm like, wait, let me delete it. Let me see what other people say first. And before I could say anything, there's 115 comments from different women telling you, I'm single, I'm single, I'm single. And it's like, okay, let me fall back real quick
No.
and I'll talk to her privately. But how can people right now have this? How can we try to push this to be more accessible to the masses? And how can everybody here either be a part of it or help?
Okay, first of all, I want you to always put a step forward. Don't take a step back. I like you there, and I like your presence. And for everybody who's in Bella's stream, if you do find me, tell me you're from Bella's stream. I will prioritize you. Like, I love this girl, so I will prioritize you. I promise you guys that. What I'm trying to build isn't a dating site. I don't want anyone to think that. I'm not Tinder, I'm not Bumble, I'm not Plenty of Fish. I'm not trying to build a dating site. I'm trying to build a matchmaking software, like a CRM, if you will, a customer relationship manager. So that's just a software where, salespeople keep track of their customers, yada, yada. Well, in my opinion, you guys are my clients, so to speak, even though you don't pay for anything. But I'm of service to you. I can't keep track of what you like, what kind of, one girl had very specific criteria, how tall, how, far they should live. I can't keep track of that. So I need a software, and I have one, but it's expensive to build, it's incredible what it can do. And I can't share all the specifics because my biggest fear is someone's going to take this idea and run with it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Don't do that. You know how
Yeah,
that goes.
it is so incredible, Bella. If I've dropped you into the software, we have a team of folks waiting on standby to join this program. It will automatically drop you into a group of like-minded people from a pool that we can now choose from. And based off of knowing you, we can hand select matches for you. And then we can pop back over here to meet me, do a little dating game or something. We can even do it here with
Oh,
you.
that would be fun.
So
Yes.
that's the end goal. But there is some capital that needs to be raised. I told those 1,900 people on the Black Man video, if each of you gave us $1, we'd be done. The app would be up in 7 days, and we'd be ready to rock and roll. And then I'd be able to put
Right.
everything else together. But we've got to raise the money for it before we do that. And I'm just a little swamped with just the daily tasks of what I'm doing at the moment.
Right. And I mean, like, come on, $1 for each of us, that's nothing, right? So I'm gonna
Yeah.
all the links and everything will be accessible for you guys after the fact. I want to kind of really just mull over because I see we're running low on time. When was the last time you worked with a difficult person or in a difficult situation, and how did you manage that?
So it would be yesterday. In the casting world, you work with a difficult person like every other hour. I kid you not. So yesterday was interesting because we put out a casting for humans and their pets. And somebody that I know from the business was interested in applying. And I gave her all the information that she needed to know to apply. And she's from the industry, so she kind of knows what she's doing. Well, by the time she
Right.
got everything back to me, she had found the posting somewhere else, and she was like, well, your information is contradicting what I found. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but this is what we have at our agency. Maybe that agency has something different. I don't know the criteria behind it. She got kind of irritated with me, like I was I don't know, like I was scamming her or something, but we know each other. So I thought that was a little bit odd. And then she was
Yeah.
frustrated about the fact that she didn't know she needed to slate her video. So slating means to introduce your video, and it's just really simple. You say your name, your age, where you're from, who you're represented by. But she's been doing this for 20 years, and we always, like, I've never not slated. And then she called me and said, just so you know, going forward, I need all the information up front, and I didn't get this information. Now I have to go shower again. Now I have to do my makeup. And I was like, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I was like, I'm feeling the energy. I'm really crabby right now. I haven't slept in a couple of days. I don't want us to, I don't want us to be bulldogs at each other. Let's take a pause, pick up the phone, call me. Let's talk through this. And so in the end,
Right.
ends up saying, my bad. I do know I should slate. I guess I'm just cranky because I haven't slept either, and I don't understand what's going on. I'm confused by the posting. So I shared everything I could with her. And then I finally, and this is how I am about everything, y'all. If you don't believe that I am doing you a good service, or you feel like I'm misleading you, I am not hurt if you don't want to work with me. I know that I'm doing the best that I
Right.
can. I know that I always mean well, even if it doesn't seem to be that way. And if for some reason we're not linking up, I'll
Yeah.
say, maybe we shouldn't work together. And she immediately was like, no, 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 that's not what I want. I just, like she came with some
Right.
pretty
But
direct
that's
demands.
like, energy is everything to me as a person. I feel like for me, it's so important to have good chemistry with who I work with, who I surround myself with, who I keep around me. The reason I love being happy, or people are like, you're always smiling. Why? I can't
Yeah.
believe your life is always happy. And it's like, that's not what it's about. I choose happiness over miserability, right? I could sit here right now and be miserable about something, but I'm going to smile and I'm going to keep my day going, because life has so much more joy to it than the one bad thing that happens to you. That one bad thing might look so big in retrospect, but it possibly can't be all that bad. If we can push through it, smile through it, everything eventually comes together. It all's the mindset and how you address things. If you can give one piece of advice or information to anyone watching this when it comes to Robyn's happiness and how she keeps happy, and advice she has for anybody else looking at this and saying, how do you stay smiling? How do you keep so happy? What advice would you give them?
So look, y'all, I've been through the ringer. Like, I've almost lost my house. I've been through some bad relationships. I have friends in the last couple of years who have passed away. It is so difficult to want to stay cheery, especially when you're feeling down. I, one, try to always surround myself around people who are doing better and who are smiling bigger. So if I'm having a little bit of a down day, if I turn on Meet Me and I see Bella, all of a sudden I'm feeling a little bit better. But one thing I didn't know early on, and I'm old, like I'm a lot older now, so it took me a long time to learn this. I look myself in the mirror and I have conversations with Robyn, just the way I do with my daughter. My daughter calls and she's upset, and I remind her why she needs to be positive, what it does to you. Your energy field and what you put out is what you get back. I deeply believe that. And I know this firsthand because when I made a conscious choice that I was going to stop being miserable about all the different dirt that was piled on me, everything changed. My career, my money, I
Oh, wow.
literally walked into 2022 and said, I'm not doing 2020 and 2021 anymore. Like that's over. Today is a new day, and I'm going to give myself. Yeah, you do, but you have to talk to yourself and you have to love yourself. So like I said earlier, just the way you speak from love to your kid, speak to yourself that way. Try it. It'll blow your mind. But look in the mirror, you guys. Look in the mirror at your own eyes. Look into your own
Of
soul.
course. It's so, so important. And again, it's about, asking yourself, do I think positively? Strengthen your memory with positive information, give your brain the capability to form positive thoughts and things around situation that might not grow you. Learn to walk away from them and focus on you being a better version of you. I was miserable for so many years because I was so focused on every single other person's happiness. But what I didn't realize back then is that if I'm not happy, how can I keep anybody else happy? So I started being true to myself. And the people who were giving me a facade of who they were, they slowly started falling away. And I ended up with literally 5 good friends. And I would not exchange them for the world because they got me. They were there, supported me through everything, my good, my bad, my in between. And sometimes it's God's way of showing you, or whoever you believe in, your higher deity or yourself, of showing you, you deserve better. You gotta push yourself through. I sometimes don't feel the best version of who I am. And when I click on social media, I'm not gonna lie, like when I click on TikTok, I specifically now type in your name and I look for your latest post first. But what I do is your name is like kind of like I've stalked you so much over the last couple of days that it's like naturally like just there. I can type R and it will throw out Robyn first, and I check for you first, and you're always happy, you're always smiling, you're always encouraging. Even when people reach out to you and they might not be all that positive, your interaction, your response towards them is always in such a way where either you maintain so much of your integrity and who you are as a person. So I truly admire you as a woman and as a person who I believe you're one of those people who put a little bit back of this broken world back together. So if not anything, I honestly,
I've had a
you're
rough
touching
week.
so many
The fact that you're even
people's
saying that is
hearts.
touching my soul. But yeah, thank you.
You're touching so many people's souls. You're literally people like myself who stopped believing in love because I've been lied to and betrayed so many times.
Yeah.
There's that little bit of inkling of hope that something might be possible for me that I haven't experienced yet. So keep doing what you're doing right now, because there's so many men and women that you're breathing life into without even knowing that.
That
And
is
with them
amazing.
reaching out to me, that tells me something different. There's a higher purpose for your life. And so you just got to stay the course, because you are truly an inspiration to me. And I do admire you so much.
This is why
And
I'm
thank
so
you so
fun.
much for being a part of this show and coming on here and giving us a little piece of who you are and sharing your platform and everything you stand for with us. I think it's truly beautiful. So thank you very much, Robyn.
Thank you so much for having me on your show and for like such the incredible, like most amazing welcome and greeting I've ever had. And just the wonderful thoughts you shared at the end. Obviously, it touched me because now the makeup I don't know how to do is running. Thank you very much. But I'm glad that I was here. I appreciate being on your show.
Thank you so much, Robyn. For those of you who don't know who Robyn is, you can find her, like she said, if you're interested in doing the date match, find her on Snapchat. You can also check her out on TikTok, Robynn Rox. You will normally find her very quickly. Same as on Instagram, Robyn Streams. Robyn Streams, yes?
Rock streams. Yep.
Rock streams, yes. I know it's something like that. So go and
Yeah.
check her out. Go follow her. And trust me, if you are not on TikTok, I know she does a lot of reposts. Go check it out. It truly, I fell in love with her personality because she posted so much of herself. So I'm truly blessed to know you and to call you my friend. Thank
Oh,
you.
I love you. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Robyn. Guys, as I said, I gave you guys all the information on where to find her now. So that's the easy part. Remember, there's 5 basic tools that I do want to share with you guys right now, which is, condition yourself to experience random moments of happiness and things that make you smile. Pay attention to the things that are positive in your life, because sometimes we're surrounded by love, but one terrible thing happened to us, and we feel like it's the end of the world, and oh my God, everything is falling apart. And what you need to know is that you're stronger than you realize, because how you were created and how you were made, you're one of a kind. There's no one like you. The purpose in your life, what you're meant for, what you're built for, is only meant for you. So strengthen your brain ability to work with positive information. Strengthen your memory to work with positive information in general. And always ask yourself, do I think positively? And is this growing me? And is it making me a better me? For those of you who just tuned in, this was Motivation Monday. Thank you so much to Robynn Rox for being a part of the show and for sharing your thoughts. I am honestly so happy and really honored that you could join us.